I'm a bit of a typical American. I like meat, I like cheese, I like bread when you put them together. But I also know hamburgers are terribly unhealthy. And that's also true for spiritual hamburgers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of Adam's Believing Heart, where we strive to make every heart incredibly healthy. Last time on Adam's Believing Heart, we talked about the soul of Islam, which is the love of Allah. And we gave a rather interesting analogy, which was spiritual fitness. You gotta eat well, you gotta exercise, you gotta think well in order to increase that love of Allah. Today, we're gonna talk about the first part of that spiritual fitness analogy, and that is the spiritual hamburgers. Like I said in the previous video, there is no out exercising a bad diet. Spiritual hamburgers are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that He doesn't necessarily like. But the problem is some of these spiritual hamburgers can be kind of yummy. That's true about regular hamburgers, and that's true about spiritual hamburgers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that desires have been made appealing to human beings. That's why we call them at Adam's Believing Heart spiritual hamburgers. We like the meat, we like the cheese, we like the bread, but we know eating a hamburger every day ain't good for us. That's why every time I go to my doctor, he tells me, your cholesterol's too high. By the way, this is not a confession to eating a hamburger every day. I do not admit to any such thing. Just like eating physical hamburgers every day deteriorates the health of our physical heart, eating spiritual hamburgers every day deteriorates the health of our spiritual heart. Because our spiritual heart is maintained by a connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And every time we eat a spiritual hamburger, it deteriorates that connection with us and Allah. Now, there's two main types of spiritual hamburgers. There's mental spiritual hamburgers and there's physical spiritual hamburgers. There's lots of hamburgers. And inshallah, over the next year, we're going to be talking about all sorts of different types of these spiritual hamburgers in great detail and very candidly. And we'll be talking about how they affect us, our relationship with Allah, our relationship with other people, and our relationship with ourselves. But in general, there are two types of spiritual hamburgers. The first type is the physical, and that is the type of stuff that we do with our body. And we all know these types of physical hamburgers. And these are the ones that generally come to mind when we talk about what deteriorates our relationship with Allah, because, you know, everybody knows the haram police. But there's another kind of spiritual hamburger, and this is a spiritual hamburger that's kind of hidden. And this is what we call the mental spiritual hamburger. It influences the way that we interact with people. It influences the way that we think about people, our relationship with people, and our relationship with Allah. Spiritual hamburgers like jealousy, spiritual hamburgers like envy, spiritual hamburgers like thinking bad thoughts about ourselves, and even thinking bad thoughts about Allah. These types of spiritual hamburgers make us unpleasant to ourselves, make us unpleasant to the people around us. They make our Islam difficult for ourselves, and they make our Islam difficult for the people around us. And they can make life difficult for us too. We want to tackle these spiritual hamburgers as well as the spiritual hamburgers that are physical. Because we're called believing heart, not believing body. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I was only sent to perfect noble character. So if someone's Islam's going up, but the people are running away from them, there's something wrong with their Islam. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we talk about physical spiritual hamburgers, but we don't talk about mental and internal spiritual hamburgers. But what happens if we identify that we're going through the drive-thru every night picking up a bag of hamburgers every day? The first thing is to acknowledge, but not hate. If Allah doesn't hate us, we should not hate ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, O servant who has wronged himself, do not despair in the mercy of Allah. Allah forgives all sins completely. If Allah does not write us off from His mercy, we should not write ourselves off from His mercy. Everybody eats hamburgers. We sometimes look at people's outside and we think, oh man, I'm never going to be like that person. That person reads 18 juz of Quran every day. But we don't look at what Allah sees. And Allah sees what everybody is from the inside. We only know what we are from the inside. We don't know what other people are from the inside. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, all people make mistakes. And the best of the ones who make mistakes are the ones who come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second and most important thing is that we acknowledge that we are imperfect in our own attempts to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will fall, but we remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to pick us up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I am as my servant thinks of me. If he comes to me one step, I come to him 2 steps. If he comes to me walking, I come to him running. Fact of the matter is, we're all munching on hamburgers. That doesn't make us hypocrites, because all of us are trying to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're all imperfect at it, and we're all doing this in our imperfect way together. All of us are walking our one step towards Allah, knowing that Allah is running towards us. Don't hate yourself, because Allah doesn't hate you. The process of trying to love Allah is what makes you more beloved in the eyes of Allah.